The headlines for this week of Business Connect. Tourism sector a pillar of the economy coping with the climate change and other challenges. Martian expertise in demand in foreign lands, increase in placements and internships. Also in focus this week on international level, PayPal pulls out of Facebook cryptocurrency.
The tourism sector through the creation of a better atmosphere for all those working directly or indirectly in this sector. And in today's edition of Business Connect, we will be meeting with Mr. Jocelyn Kwok, who will be talking about the challenges, especially with the climate change effects. Welcome to this new edition of Business Connect. Very soon we'll be nearing up the peak season, that is the festive season and the holiday season. But from the start of the year till now, what has been the situation in the tourism industry?
2019 has been a pretty much flat year. We have been through strong growth since 2014, and since the beginning of this year, growth has been rather slow, and we are hoping that the peak season is going to bring us some accelerated demand for our results.
And what is the forecast for the peak season?
Overall, we are left with about 3 months till the end of this calendar year. I think even with some major push on our major markets, overall growth is going to be about probably 1 to 2% for the whole year. And for the peak season of this year, we expect probably the same level of activity as last year.
And what are the products that are highly promoted? For example, we've got the family package, the culinary activities, golf, etc. So how is it going? What are the most highly in demand?
As we know, the Mauritius destination is growing. We are pushing for our visitors to make the most of the destination. Beyond accommodation, there are so many experiences that they can try outside the resorts with the various attractions that we have, nature parks and activities, sea-based, that are quite interesting also. Within hotels, with our guest-centered approach, we are really proposing experiences that are going to boost the memories of our visitors, and we are aiming at a number of innovations, whether it's on food, drinks, experience. Certainly the resorts are pushing for innovative ideas such as, rum bars, cooking classes, encounters with local celebrities, etc. So there is much happening in the various resorts, and depending on the positions they have, some of them are engaging with local communities also, which is bringing, the most of what we are trying to push right now, the authenticity of the destination.
Climate change is the concern globally. And for ARIM, what are the measures that you're taking?
Of course, I think no one can escape from that. Climate change is bringing a lot of changes to the physical infrastructure of Mauritius. We have boasted for so many years our natural beauty, the resources, the coastal line, wave and the lagoon and the beaches. All these are being challenged today. We're already suffering from major erosion issues on some parts of the island. And we as an industry, hotels, authorities and other stakeholders are very aware of what is happening right now. A number of measures are being implemented. We have concerted actions with the authorities. We also have an action plan where we are aiming at a low carbon and resource efficient accommodation sector for Mauritius.
Are there any other activities that hotels are adopting or implementing measures in the context of climate change?
Certainly, I think hotels have a major role to play. They can influence their guests, they can influence their suppliers, and through their employees also they can implement a number of actions that go with the direction of adapting to climate change and responding to the challenges of sustainable tourism. Hotels have been inviting their guests to adopt measures that reduce waste. This includes energy, lighting, and food as well. And hotels have been engaging in sensitization and education campaigns. They have used innovative ideas to educate their guests about the beach, resources, the fauna and flora that they can encounter on the beaches in the lagoon. And some of them are also pushing for voluntary contributions from their guests in order to compensate either for their carbon footprint or to engage in actions that the hotels are pushing with regards to conservation and biodiversity.
We're talking about eco-friendly concepts. Are hotels adapting measures or implementing measures in this context?
I should say that hotels have always been working with strong, what we call cahier de charge, that is conditions that they have to fulfill in order to be listed as a destination for major tour operators in Europe. So this idea and this education have been on for a number of years now in Mauritius, and our hotels have always been sort of encouraged to comply with regulations, limitations, restrictions that are linked to environment protection and responses to global climate change. So today, for instance, we have about 50 resorts who are already labeled with a green certification. So this is major for our industry, and the efforts are certainly visible, and our guests and our suppliers also engage in that same direction. And we, as an association of hoteliers, we are pushing for more conversations around these and more discussions, and certainly we are aiming at being able to push the industry forward on this.
And now let's talk about the supply and the demand of the market. How is it going now?
You know, Mauritius is a well-priced destination, probably foremost in terms of island, tropical island in a remote location. And the quality of our service delivery, the quality of our people, our history, and our natural assets are certainly strong points which we have built on over the years. Today, with increasing competition, with demand which is more sophisticated, probably less homogeneous, we have to respond. We have to respond with more resolve and more forcefulness, and we are playing, obviously, on this green tourism aspect, certainly. We're pushing on the authenticity of the local experiences, encountering the local, living like a local, and getting to know more about our history, our people, our cultures. So all these are aspects on which the destination has to build on. Certainly tomorrow for us, the challenge is how to get our guests to make the most of the destination in its full dimensions. This is a challenge for us because you would know that we have, from our top 30 markets, about 15 of them do not have English or French as a first language. So this is a challenge for us in order to enable our guests to make the most of the destination, know about the history, know about the small intricacies of who we are, why you should be here, and what you should experience. You have to certainly get across language barriers or cultural barriers.
And which market is the most progressing one currently?
Today, we have a situation where we have our top 7 markets representing about 70% of demand. Unfortunately, since the beginning of this year, these top 7 markets are down slightly. In total, they are down by about 3%, which explains why we are probably having a flat growth. And those 7 markets are quite well diversified as well. You have the big 3 European ones, which are France, the UK, and Germany. And among those 3, only France is growing. We have India and China. Both of them are down for the moment for various reasons. And next to us, we have Réunion Island and South Africa, and both of them are down also as well. Fortunately, we have emerging markets that are doing well. Saudi Arabia is doing well, and also traditional markets like Switzerland and Italy are progressing right now. So all in all, with a well-diversified portfolio of markets, we are able to cope with what is right now a challenging situation for tourism for Mauritius. Because without mentioning it, we have some difficulties across all our markets at the same time, which is a bit of an unusual situation, and we hope we are going to get over that very quickly.
You just mentioned about the 7 markets, and in these 7 markets, we can see we've got some problems going on, or we've got some challenges, we better say it. So what are the reasons behind it which are causing these challenges?
I think there's no one single reason for that. As I mentioned, I tend to interpret those 7 markets as, well localized geographically in terms of diversified markets. The French market is growing. I think the French tourist has 100% experience of Mauritius, which is good. No language barrier, no difficulty, and really getting across all the dimensions of our tourism, 100%. British market is down. That's Brexit. And we shouldn't forget also that French market got beyond the Gilets jaunes phenomenon. And the German market is not growing. It is growing only on the cruise sector, which is one thing, which is also good, but it's not growing that much for the moment. It is linked in some way also to the recent event of Thomas Cook's debacle. South Africa is down for economic reasons. Réunion Island is down for Mauritius because of the wider choice. We need to adjust, to stabilize. And there are good news also. Mauritius government, Ministry of Tourism and ourselves will engage with Air Mauritius in order to maintain a more stable flight service with Shanghai and Hong Kong. So this is a major step forward. We have the support of all the stakeholders. We are certainly aiming at building back again that market. We are going to pursue those initiatives on the Indian market also. And hopefully when South African economy is going to pick up and the currency is going to get stronger, and again afterwards when we go through Europe and the various components of Europe, we will have several paces of recovery from Great Britain, Germany, and then probably France later on. Certainly we are going to make up all this. But I think we should not forget that competition is stronger. And the official forecast by Statistics Mauritius is that we are going to reach about 1.425 million tourists this year. So this represents about 1.8% growth. We've gone through major growth over the last 4 years. I think we shouldn't complain that much in terms of arrival. I think we should aim at building up value. I always mention the need for us to build on the unit value of what tourism should bring to Mauritius.
Thank you very much for this interview.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Payments firm PayPal has become the first company to pull out of an alliance that is trying to launch Facebook's digital currency Libra. PayPal made the announcement in a statement on Friday, but did not specify what had prompted the decision. Libra and its digital wallet Calibra were revealed by Facebook in June. But the cryptocurrency has been criticized by regulators, and both France and Germany have pledged to block it from Europe. PayPal said it remained supportive of Libra's aspirations, but had chosen to focus on its own core businesses. Amid signs that the global economy is slowing, America's labor market remains strong. In September, the unemployment rate fell to 3.5%, the lowest rate since December 1969, as employers added 136,000 jobs to the U.S. economy. There were many signs of strength, including robust hiring in healthcare, transportation, professional services, and state and local government.
Many Mauritian professionals have been looking constantly for opportunities to turn their dreams into realities, that is, to work in a prestigious country and to earn a good living. Think Recruitment Limited is the passport to ease this transition by providing internship placement and monitoring process. And in this edition of Business Connect, we will be meeting with the director of Think Recruitment Limited, Mr. Anil Loki. Tell us about Think Recruitment Limited.
So Think Recruitment, it's an agency existing since 2016. We are specialized in internship and traineeship in the USA. It's our main focus. Why we gave the name of Think? We all need to think in our life. We need to think the future. So that's why we started it with our name, Think Recruitment. We need to think future. The students, they know only Europe, but nobody knew about the USA. So that's why we choose the US.
Who are those who can seek the services of Think Recruitment Limited? I mean, let's talk about the candidates.
It's specific for the US immigration. We need to have somebody having 5 years experience, or somebody having a degree or a master with minimum 6 or 1 year experience. Mm-hmm. And then we can make their placement. For somebody having 5 years, they will be as traineeship, and somebody having who just finished their degree, they will be as internship.
What are the job opportunities when we're talking about recruitment? Is there any age limit? Any specific skill are needed?
We are more in the operation, like for example, you have F&B, front office, room division, and culinary. But there's a big demand of culinary in the US. It's not only in the US, it's worldwide.
Is it only for the Mauritian? You mean to say our young Mauritian people?
We on Mauritius, we need to concentrate in Mauritius. And we used to, me myself, I used to go to Madagascar, making recruitment at Vatel and University of Madagascar. And so we'll move a little bit further from Mauritius also.
How Think Recruitment Limited contributes in leveling up the Mauritian hospitality sector?
In our hospitality sector, we need to upgrade our service. Why upgrade? We have lots of concurrents. For example, Nepalese people, Indian people, Philippine, Indonesian, people from Madagascar. It's our concurrents. And when I say it's our concurrents, so we are hard worker. But I try to, I won't say sell, but I try to, I sell Mauritian as a fine touch. Mm-hmm. Not only hard worker, but with the fine touch. We have it in our blood, in our hospitality. And this will contribute, because somebody going to the US, when he come back, he need to come back after 1 year. And then when he come back, he will bring this, it's not only, you know, his experience, but the cultural exchange, Mauritius and the US. So lots of how to work with other nationality also. Mm-hmm. This is very important nowadays, and when we have a look to our clients, why not to promote Mauritius in the US?
How did Think Recruitment contributed in increasing employability?
So Think Recruitment contribute in creating employment for our young Mauritian to go and gain experience in the US and bring it back with a cultural exchange, and also having a good living there and bringing this the experience after 1 year to Mauritius. In all together for a little bit less than 3 years, it's nearly 200 Mauritian. And nowadays, where I'm speaking with, there's around 85 to 100 people actually in the US, and there's some more leaving soon.
Where do you see Think Recruitment Limited in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, we want to be number one in recruitment, not only in Mauritius, but also in Africa.
What are
Why
your projects of
Africa?
expansion here?
And because there's expansion in Africa, because Africa is growing. It's not anymore Asia or Europe, but Africa is growing. There's lots of hotels, there's lots of demands. So that's why we want to send Mauritian abroad to have an international exposure, and then to Africa.
You're talking about Think Recruitment, and you, Jess, you started from a specific point. So let's talk about this journey. Where you started, where you landed, and where are you now?
I started my whole career in hospitality through Vatel, where I studied, I graduated from there with a bachelor's degree in hospitality management. I further went to China to learn language for 1 year and came back to Mauritius and worked 1 year at the Chandrani Hotel. Working there, I was contacted by Anil, and he approached me telling me that he had something interesting for my career plans. So he talked to me about his career plan in the US, and that's where my whole adventure of going to the US started. So September 2017 was when I laid off all my documents, and I had already been in touch with Anil before, talking about how the placement process would have to be and how the interviews would have to be and everything. But from the moment I laid off my documents, it was 8 weeks after that I found myself feet down in the US. I started my whole career as a front desk agent, becoming supervisor at the Hilton Los Angeles Airport. So the hotel itself had 1,234, 1234 rooms, and I was the first Mauritian to ever work at the Hilton LAX.
What did you learn from that experience?
What I learned was, professionally, was life-changing, because full employee empowerment, which we sometimes rarely see here, coming from front desk agents and supervisors. We had full employee empowerment, and also the exposure that you have with the clients that you help throughout your days and nights. on a personal basis, I got to live through my passion, so which is dance. I got to dance a lot in the US. I got to experience lots of things. I got to fly to many places. So domestic flights being very cheap in the US itself. So we were regularly going from Los Angeles to San Diego, San Francisco, to Colorado, Texas sometimes, and all the other places.
I started in Hilton Alexandria Old Town, which is located in Washington, and my job title was Food and Beverage Supervisor. And under this job title, I had several departments which fall under my control. First of all, I had to supervise food and beverage, as the name itself says. It includes the restaurant, the bar, the kitchen, as well as room service, and on top of this, I had banqueting. Mm-hmm. And out of this position, purchasing also was on my responsibilities, since I had to order liquors for the bar, required by the kitchen and at the same time by the banqueting staff. And as food and beverage supervisor, it was a challenge for me, since the way we work here in Mauritius completely differs from the way we work in America. It's just because beverages that we use here in Mauritius is more or less the same as in America, but we have great varieties in America. Like when we say Mauritius, we know few beers, just to give an example, but in America, I had to order like 48 different kinds of beers. Slowly but surely, I was able to discover the American culture. Mm-hmm. When we say American culture, and I say Mauritius culture, the hospitality service remains the same, but it's just the product that differs. One of the benefits that I have been able to get at Hilton, Alexandria Old Town, where I used to work, is that you are already empowered when you work there. Empowered in the sense that you have the right to take decisions, no matter how, is it good or not, you have the right to take that decision on that particular moment, just to satisfy your guests.
And with this, we come to the end of the program. We hope that you had a glimpse of the various reports presented to you. In the meantime, we catch up again with you. Do watch us on our YouTube channel, on MBC channels, as well on our Facebook page. Until next time, this is goodbye from the whole crew.